no matter where in the world, at whatever level. Every club has dreams. The first round of the FA Cup against Notts County.
59 places between them. One game, one night. Salford didn't clear it. Good effort. Here's a chance for Hume. He's round the goalkeeper. James Poole curling it towards the back post of Weber. Less than 20 seconds into the second half. It's still Jordan Hume. Mightily close. The goalkeeper's got to get there. Magnificent. Oh, what a goal! A magical moment of history. Wherever this Salford City story takes them, this is a chapter they will never, ever forget.
Yes, incredible scenes from Friday night as this season's Emirates FA Cup first round got off to a cracking start. But that was just the beginning. Coming up, the best from this weekend's 39 games. And with me ready to delve into the weekend's big talking points, a warm welcome to Steve Claridge and Kevin Kilban. And before every first-round cup tie, clubs across the country pay tribute to those members of the armed forces lost at war. First up, the Memorial Ground in Bristol as League Two Rovers took on a side 75 places below them in the football pyramid, Chesham United from the Southern League Premier. Chesham have managed just one away league win since January. Delith Lloyd now reports.
Many of Chesham United's players were still in nappies when the club last played in the first round proper of the FA Cup 21 years ago. They'll be sure to remember this tie, though, as they knocked out League Two side Bristol Rovers, a club 75 places above them in the football pyramid. Opportunity knocked for the visitors, who play in the 7th tier of English football. Brad Watkins was brought down in the area by Rovers defender Tom Lockyer on the half-hour mark. David Pearce, though, could only watch as his penalty kick was saved by Lee Nichols. Rovers had appeals for a penalty turned down. Defender Curtis Ujar appeared to handle the ball. The League Two side were controlling play, but failed to make the most of a double chance. Jermaine Easter denied first before Ellis Harrison missed the target. Time for Chesham then to change things up. 43-year-old player coach Barry Hales, remember him? He received a warm reception from the home crowd as he came on as a second-half substitute for United. Somewhat of a cult figure at Rovers during the late 90s, but this time he was plotting their downfall. It worked, the Buckinghamshire club finally unlocking Rovers' defence 13 minutes from time. Ryan Blake firing low into the bottom corner from 25 yards. This time Nichols should have done better. Blake and Chesham, though, were in dreamland. Rovers had a couple of chances to pull level late on. Harrison's effort parried away before Easter's thumping shot was also pushed out by keeper Shane Gore. Celebrations all around then for the non-league side as they booked their place in the second round. These Rovers fans, however, still had something to smile about. Hales will forever be deemed a hero by the League Two club. He's now a Chesham United one too.
Did you think the shock was on before you came here today?
Yeah. The manager gave us the confidence there, and we had a game plan. And to be fair to the boys, they stuck to it. And we knew that the longer the game go on, we will get a chance. The manager said to go on there and just hold the ball up, and we can catch them on counter-attack. And then Blakey fired his shot, and I'm absolutely buzzing when they went in.
And at your age, do you enjoy these celebrations even more?
Of course. Yeah, this will be my last one, who knows? But I'm looking forward to the next round now. I can watch the draw tomorrow with pride.
So Barry Hales then on a memorable return to the Memorial Ground 17 years after he left the club. Incredibly, that time's gone so quickly. But well done to Chesham. A terrific result considering, as I mentioned, Steve, 75 places between the two, the resources and the fact that it was away from home.
Yeah, I mean, Bristol Rovers haven't got a great home record this year, we hasten to add, but you're right, there will be some upsets this weekend. If you're in them, you know about the non-league pyramid system, you'll think, actually, I can see why they got results, because some of the clubs that have got results have spent good money, spent a lot of money, and were able to, to buy in good players this year. Chesham don't come into that sort of list, so you look at the actual way they've played this season, the form they've been in, this was certainly a turn-up. You
look at what Chesham had to do, really, in the game. The key moment early on, of course, when they missed that penalty.
Yeah, and I think they had from the setback, they didn't actually recover from that for a while, because Bristol Rovers came right into the game after this. But I mean, it was a clear penalty. I don't think there's any debate really about that. It was a poor challenge, and once he steps up, I think it's Dave Pearce with the penalty and Lee Nichols with a good save, in fairness to him. But Barry Hales came on. I think he calmed them down a little bit. He got them settled. And in this, I mean, he struck it well enough. It's a really good strike, but I think Lee Nichols again could have saved it. And I think that was disappointing, really, from Bristol Rovers' point of view, yeah. I
think you look where the ball finishes up as it hits the net. It's not in the corner. It must go through him, actually. I think the figment of that game, the standout for that game was, I think they had about 25 chances, shots on goal, Bristol Rovers. But we were looking and thinking, how many were gilt-edged chances? That's how well, and not many. That's how well Chesham defended.
Yeah, well done, with everybody concerned with Chesham United. Well, League Two strugglers at Newport County hardly had the ideal preparation for their trip to non-league Brackley Town today. They arrived late for their first-round cup tie after the coach driver left his keys locked inside the team bus. It's a pain, to say the least. Anyway, they managed to get to them in the end, but at some cost. Commentary on this one from Alistair Mann.
Seeking only the second ever FA Cup first round win in their 125-year history, Brackley Town certainly represents everything that epitomises this great competition. Part-time players, including Birmingham bin man Richard Batchelor, among those seeking to write their names into FA Cup folklore. 5 of the Newport 11 are loanees, all granted permission to play, including Zach Ansar, a one-time Arsenal graduate on loan from Charlton. Like many playing today, it's his first ever FA Cup tie. Excellently won by Byrne, the skipper. His pass is a good one too to John Lewis, who takes a tumble. It's a penalty. Referee says penalty. Pablo Mills looks appalled that he has been penalised for the challenge. He believes it was nothing more than a man-to-man tussle rather than an illegal challenge, but the referee says that's a penalty. 15th minute, Newport County take the lead. Linnell John Lewis, nice and calm. And the supporters behind the goal, you can tell, have made the trip from South Wales, and a joyous, an early goal to settle down the side who represent the Football League. Oh, now there's a little nudge there. Akintunde looks longingly at the referee and suggests that the contact on him might be similar to the one that led to the penalty. Bennett coming forward. John Lewis is onside. Bennett continued his run. Won by Graham, but he's still going, and he scored! Scott Bennett rode the challenges and just kept on going. A question about offside, but the referee said no. And he just sort of rolled off a couple of tackles, picked himself up, found that there was an opportunity to score, and he did. And the smile on his face is that of a player who is in the side as a centre-half, very rarely scores. But he has himself an FA Cup goal, and he's provided Newport County with a terrific advantage before half-time. It's Horton. Akintunde, that's clever to let the ball do the work. The cross was low and difficult to deal with. Diambo tried to make something out of it and settles for a corner. Well, they've had a few corners in this second half, 4 in total. We're in swinger towards the goalkeeper. I said it was in swinging, and it's almost going to go in. It does, and it counts as well. Well, Graham turns away celebrating. Walker does the same. One man not celebrating is Joe Day. Well, the in-swinger with the breeze behind it, and it somehow found its way creeping over the line after the goalkeeper couldn't field it. Makes a real hash of it. It's off the line, and well, two players, Graham and Walker, went for it. Who got the final touch? Let's see. I think it's Graham. Football League side in control in the first half. It's not quite been the same in the second. The third goal, though, will probably seal it once and for all, and they've won a corner, Newport. Tackle by McDonald. On Rodman. As to his Partridge. Breaks for Bowden, off the line brilliantly. Just over 10 minutes to go, and Bowden's shot cleared off the line. 3-1 lead for Newport would have sunk Brackley Town, but Horton was there. Brilliant. And no question that it was over the line. It was a really decisive block. Now then, do they have anything left in the tanks? Listen to the Brackley Town supporters roaring them forward. Get that ball upfield, they cry. They have a throw-in. 4th minute of added time. Just a goal away from being in the FA Cup second round draw. That's something in itself. It's a terrific header, and they've done it! Terrific, Curtis McDonald. Brilliant header. The fullback up from the back, glances it into the corner of the net, and they are in the FA Cup second round draw, and Kevin Wilkin is absolutely delighted. Stoppage time almost up. The fullback creeps forward. He's just about got enough energy to get to the ball, and his flick of his head into the corner of the net, and Newport County's 2-goal lead wiped out in the last moments of the game.
To score in the FA Cup is magic, you know. 2-0 down, half-time, looked out of it, went back out there, nicked the goal, and you know, then you start believing to get a result out of him. 92nd minute, took a chance, went up there, don't happen often, and got my head on the end of it, yeah, buzzing.
Not surprised he's buzzing. Terrific afternoon then for Brackley Town. They looked dead and buried at half-time, 2-0 down. You couldn't see the fight back coming, could you?
If you stay in the game, Manish, that's exactly what they did. You know, they didn't let it get away from them. 2-0 down, they just continued to try and plug away and keep on going with it. And then when they were 2-1 down, that Aidan Horton clearance off the line, that just kept them in the game, and then they were able to gain momentum from that.
That made all the difference, didn't it, from 3-1, which potentially it could have been. And instead, there they were fighting back with 2 good headers.
Yeah, there'll always be moments in games where they'll either go for you or go against you. I think here we see how much you know, a part the wind played in this game, because we kept going to Kevin Wilkin, great access, wasn't it? You know, the interviewing and all that through the game. And I think even at half-time, you're sort of surprised at how much the wind had changed the game in his side's favour. Obviously, the keeper probably wants to palm that over. And then you see there's not enough pace on the ball to get that amount of power on it. So it has to be slightly wind assisted. But look at that.
Brilliant.
An absolute bullet header, wasn't it?
Great header. Brilliant. It's just as he arrives, Austin. He arrives from deep. His momentum's with him, and no chance for the goalkeeper there. Brilliant.
Yeah, 2 teams who haven't done particularly well on the domestic front, have they? I mean, probably that's exactly what Brackley would have wanted. Yeah,
I mean, the difference was they were at home.
Yeah.
And, you know, they would have thought this is our opportunity. But going back to Newport, who had a tough start to the season, you could say, you know, there might be an opportunity there as well.
Yeah, and they've not won at home, have Newport, since March, so that's going to be competitive, to say the very least. Our next stop is a bit of a throwback, really, and the artificial surface of the Gallagher Stadium, home of Maidstone United of National League South. They'd won their last 9 games in all competitions as they took on injury-hit Yeovil, second bottom in the Football League. Commentary on this one from Martin Fisher.
Maidstone-born Alex Flisher made his 200th appearance for the club last week. He and fellow striker Jay May are both carpenters by day. A window fitter, an insurance salesman and a forklift driver also make the starting 11. Darren Ward makes his Yeovil debut just days after joining them on loan. He played in the final for Millwall in 2004. Ryan Bird has been responsible for 7 of Yeovil's 14 goals this season. So the second time that Maidstone United, under their current guise, have reached the first round of the FA Cup. A year ago they got the better of Stevenage from League Two. Here and a replay. Sokolic in for Yeovil. And again, that was a lunging challenge. And the referee wants a word with the Yeovil defender here, and there is fury amongst the Maidstone players, and it's a red card. Jakub Sokolic sent off with 7 minutes on the watch. And if this was going to be a difficult afternoon for the League Two side, it's just got a whole lot more difficult. Well, it was a heavy first touch initially by the defender, and then as he tried to retrieve it, he's lunging in. The sole of the foot is raised, and the referee's positioning could not have been any better. I don't think he required the protests of the Maidstone players to encourage him to find the red card. It was coming out anyway, and now an enforced reshuffle. Maidstone's throw. Alex Flisher winding himself up. Parry on the near post. Coyle is in there too. Both missed it. Here's the shot though, and it's wide from James Rogers. Dropped invitingly for the man who scored the winning goal for Maidstone at Concord Rangers a week ago. Roberts. The referee has given the free kick for the earlier challenge on Sheehan. He's been in charge since last April, just 5 wins in his 24 games. Ward is back post. Morgan's come for it, got something on it, but maybe not enough, and that's in! Fogden for Yeovil Town. The 10 men take the lead. Dixon's free kick was a difficult one, but did Lee Morgan need to get involved? I'm not sure. It was a poor clearance, and Fogden got just enough on it as the goalkeeper was losing his balance going to his right. The ball was going to his left. Maidstone 0, Yeovil 1. Oh, hesitation, and Osborne is in. The goalkeeper's brought him down, and Krysiak could go for this. Surely it's got to be a red card. That has to be a goal-scoring opportunity, and it is a second red. You couldn't write this script. Artur Krysiak sent off for the foul on Alex Osborne, and Yeovil Town are down to 9 men. Hesitation here between Roberts and the goalkeeper, and as Osborne came in, Krysiak connects, and there can be absolutely no debate that that deserved a red card. So Chris Wheel, who's only made 1 appearance this season for Yeovil Town, well, doesn't he have a role to play now as they look to reach round 2 of the FA Cup? Flisher drives, and he drives it wide. Whistle past that left-hand post of Wheel. Not sure that the goalkeeper even moved. And there are still 30 minutes to go for Maidstone to find an equaliser, but before that they've got to defend a Yeovil corner, their first of the game. Ryan Dixon with a corner, an outswinger, and it's headed against somebody on the goal line that's kept it out. Darren Ward, on his Yeovil Town debut, close to making it 2-0. Brilliant work from Bodkin on the line, got his chest in the way. Akrofi. Lacey forced to concede the corner. 6th corner for Maidstone United. Adam Birchall almost standing on the toes of the goalkeeper Chris Wheel. Bodkin's delivery, and against the post, and a bit of juggling from Wheel, and Yeovil's lead remains intact. Well, it's a sea of bodies that climb for this corner, and it bobbles off the post. Jamie Coyle with the header, I think. Paxman. We're inside the last minute of the 90. It's Tom Mills with a chance to cross. It's a good ball. Collins' header, and it's in by Akrofi. But I think the flag is up. It's offside. It will not count. The joy of Alex Akrofi will be short-lived because the flag was raised on this near side. What drama in the very last minute of the 90. Mills with the ball in. Collins' header. And you can just see there that maybe Akrofi was half a yard ahead of Colin. And he might indeed have used his arm to push it home. Weald is struggling, and Weald was very nearly beaten. But in the end, he's done enough. But his face almost matched the colour of that jersey there. Callum Driver's cross almost caught him out. And it stays 1-0 to the League Two strugglers.
Is that one of your proudest days as Yeovil manager?
Well, I've never tasted playing with 9 men before. In all my career, I was a mountain to climb, really. But the players were absolutely fantastic. They've kept the shape we talked about. Worked very, very hard, closed down the man on the ball all the time, and really our goalie had probably one key save to make in the whole 90 minutes.
Obviously the sendings off, sometimes it makes it a little bit harder. They dropped us sort of very deep. I think the only disappointment for us is 2 decisions. I'll have to see them again, but the first one was when the keeper got sent off. Alex felt he was in the box, and the second one they're saying that he was definitely weren't offside when Alex has put it in, but as I say, sometimes it goes for you, and unfortunately today it hasn't.
Huge relief then for Yeovil and Paul Sturrock, but I tell you what, they had to do it the hard way, didn't they?
They did. I mean, if you'd have said before the game this was going to happen and they were going to get something out of it, particularly a win, I think they would have taken that. I think it was a really gutsy performance. It was a spirited performance. You know, probably something that we haven't seen an awful lot of from Yeovil. Yeah. And they really were up against it in time, and they negated that Maidstone threat. You know, we looked at the chances there. Yeah. It wasn't a plethora of other chances. No. That was it for Maidstone.
What did you make of the 2 red cards?
I actually felt the first one, even watching it, it's the angle of the referee here, but as Jakob Sokolik goes in for the challenge, look at his body, he's off the ground. The referee's in a good position. I see he sees that. He's not got his studs high, but he's off the ground.
You don't agree, do you?
I think he's out of control there.
He's sent off for the way he's made the challenge, not the challenge. And this, I don't know what Roberts is doing there. He looks at that. I think it's like a little bit like when you've run the wrong man out in cricket. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Sort of the wrong man has had to make the foul, and you know you've got to go and clear that. They were down to 9 men at this stage and really up against it, but they saw the game out really well.
No real debate about that one. That's sending off.
At one point, I thought maybe the pitch might have something to do with the bounce of the ball, could have added to the confusion.
Well, there once or twice when the ball actually bounced, it just stayed where it was. We were both saying that it didn't actually carry on its momentum. So there is a slight difference. I think it took 20 minutes or so for Yeovil to get acclimatised.
Yeah. Yeovil go through. Was it a soft goal in some respects?
Well, I think you can certainly look at it and say there were mistakes leading up to it. I mean, the keeper here takes a false step and he's unable really to get any purchase on the punch. And then no one reacts. If you look here, he just misses a step there. And by missing that step, he can't really attack the ball. And then no one actually goes to it. You look at the reaction from Yeovil players. There's 3 of them round the ball, yet nobody goes and closes the ball down.
He loses his footing almost, doesn't he? He's coming out. That might be down to the pitch as well as Lee Morgan's coming out. And it's a misjudgment, of course, but he loses his feet and then he can't then react. He gets, like saying, just a palm on it, and it's a finish then towards puts him through.
We know Jay Saunders looking back in a bit of frustration. Of course, he's facing 9 men, couldn't get the victory. They did have a couple of chances right at the end, though, didn't they?
Well, do you know what I thought? I mean, again, I thought they had a couple of chances, yes, but off the back of that, I don't think they created enough chances in open play, considering they were playing against 9 men. I think they had a lot of the ball, and when they got to the final third, that's where they didn't really create. I think this is a good decision. I think as he goes in, it's a
Croffy with that.
Yeah, as he gets into position, and I think it's a great decision by the assistant. Yeah,
it's the actual initial.
Yeah.
As the cross comes in, he's not offside, but the initial flick then after that puts him on offside. So it's a really good decision. But I looked at that, and that'll be a game where they'll come out of it, Maidstone, and maybe think what might have been, because it was all a little bit too late in the game that we actually saw something from them.
Yeah.
Well, the FA Cup first round was uncharted territory for National League South side Whitehawk. The non-league team from Sussex were hoping to make it an unwanted hat-trick for Lincoln of the National League, who'd gone out at the first round stage for the last 2 seasons. Here's Delith again.
Cut into the South Downs on the edge of Brighton is the home of National League South Whitehawk. It's called the Enclosed Ground, but it hosted the most open of cup ties. In their first appearance in the first round proper, Whitehawk began as the underdogs, but soon set about Lincoln City, who play in the division above. Danny Mills put them ahead in the 6th minute. The Hawks looked far from a side that was playing in the Sussex County League 6 years ago. They're perched 4th in their division and are playing with confidence, epitomised by Jake Robinson as he put his side 2 up inside half an hour. But this twisted tale was just beginning. While back defending, goal scorer Mills gave away a penalty. The job of taking it went to Matt Reed, and that began an eventful afternoon for him. The Lincoln defence wasn't having one of its better afternoons, and Whitehawk knew it. Sam Deering was allowed to make it 3 in the 58th minute. At the other end, City were having more joy though. A badly timed game of head tennis was interrupted by that man Reed, and it was 3-2. As they looked for an equaliser though, Whitehawk came at them again. Dave Martin's goal 4 minutes from time surely finished this. Instead, it grew crazier still. Into stoppage time, and Lincoln was still going. Craig Ross kept Greg Tempest out, but somehow Reed's header made it in. A hat-trick for him and 4-3. But in the desperate effort to grab an equaliser, Lincoln were even shorter at the back. Alan Power had been booked before this tackle. Red card, penalty. And for the last word, over to Deering.
Deering with the spot kick into the corner, sends the keeper the wrong way. That seals it for Whitehawk. Famous victory.
What a game for the supporters. I was just saying to the lads in there, I used to have lovely blonde hair a year ago, and now it's turning grey, but fantastic, thoroughly deserved though. You know, we were better than 2 goals better than them today. The fans are amazing. I've seen fans like that in non-league, because I haven't. I've been around it 10 years. Incredible.
Unbelievable afternoon. I mean, we should ordinarily say well done to Matt Reed on his hat-trick, but it's been overshadowed by Whitehawk's performance. They're not going to forget their maiden appearance in the first round, are they?
No, they're not. I mean, you don't have the rise that they've had in recent years without being able to put your hand in your pocket, which they have done. We know that they're one of the teams. You know, they've got caught in that Conference South where, you know, Ebbsfleet have led the way with regard to huge finances. They've had to tag along, sort of thing, to be competitive. But they've got a good pedigree. They've got
you can see that by the name of the goal scorer.
Really good ex-league players down there.
Yeah,
and
Sam Deering wasn't he?
We talk about the quality. You know, even at that level, we talk about Conference South. It's really, really deep.
Yeah, 1,342 were there to witness it, including this little girl who experienced her first time at Whitehawk, thanks to her dad who tweeted us, Phil Barton, taking my little one to her first ever football game. She's rooting for whoever plays in red.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Of course it is.
That's what it's all about.
Well done to her. Right, let's find out how the lowest ranked side in the competition, Didcot Town, fared today against a side 96 places above them in League 2 Exeter City. The Grecians, led by Paul Tisdale, of course, were desperate to sharpen up their act after crashing out to non-league Warrington Town 12 months ago. Commentary from Adam Virgo and Ian Dark.
Moore Taylor towards Wheeler, who won the header well. Morrison here. Well constructed attack this by Exeter. Davis's cross is charged down by Dutton Black. And there's the man who has the reputation of being the best dressed manager in the country, Paul Tisdale. It's another good looking one. Moore Taylor was forward again from the back. McAllister, great effort, beaten away by the goalkeeper, who's been a bit of a star so far, Bedwell.
It was a wonderful save, it really was. They don't defend that corner very, very well. But he's got that wonderful strike, McAllister.
Noble. Wheeler tries to have a Morrison! Puts Exeter City ahead! Clinton Morrison, the old Premier League striker.
It's a great ball around the corner from Wheeler. And you can just see Andy Ballard saying to Luke Carnell, he's your man.
Now then, what was plan B? Lovely run here from Wheeler. On and on he goes, thought about the shot, now it's on for Oyeleke, and what a save that is by Lee Bedwell to keep it to 1. Brilliant from the young PE teacher.
It's a great save in the end from Lee Bedwell. Good strong left hand to tip it round the post. Coming into the last 20 minutes of the game, and this is where your fitness of the league side comes into play.
Dutton Black. Francis is up there with him, James too. Here's Francis. Francis, can he finish it here? Blocked around, Dutton Black, and Alejnik makes the save at his feet.
Well, they're claiming offsides, and there's a slip of no ball that allows it to come in.
Alex Nichols, Tom Nichols. Still not away. And the header off the bar, Morrison, and then scrambled in. Exeter City have the second goal that they're looking for. Tom Nichols. And Exeter now have clear water.
Well, he has every right, Lee Bedwell, to be frustrated, because he makes a wonderful save. And when you make that kind of save, you need one of your defenders to really get on that second ball. Credit to Aaron Davis.
Tom Nichols, lovely ball, straight in here, could score with his first involvement. Grant plays it across the face of goal. He won't get the goal in the end. It's touched in, and it becomes 3-0. Alex Nichols with the third.
Well, there's great all-round play. Substitution, Grant coming on and making an instant impact. James Organ just gets caught trying to play offsides. Lee Bedwell coming out really in no man's land.
We knew it was going to be difficult. There's a few cup upsets. Recently we watched the Salford game, so we know what it is at this standard. And I've played a few games at Long Eaton before I signed for Exeter, so I know what it's like to be at this level. And fair play to Didcot though, they gave us a good account. But I think the boys done a professional job, and we're just I'm pleased to be in the next round now.
Yeah, well spoken, that from Clinton Morrison. I mean, I know Paul Tisdale was stung by their league defeat to Barnet at the weekend, and that was a professional performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, Paul Tisdale got a response from his side today. It was a shame for Didcot. They just didn't quite happen for them today, and next two were too strong for them. It was certainly nice to see my ex-roommate Clinton Morrison scoring. He only rings me when he scores, so
which hasn't been that often, to be honest.
Well, my biannual phone call will come this week, won't it? Yeah. So no, it was pleased though. It was pleased for him, but it was a disappointing day for Didcot. Yeah.
OK, 5 more first-round ties coming up now, involving league sides putting their reputations on the line against non-league opposition, starting with National League side Braintree Town, who are in the first round for the 3rd straight season. They're up against Michael Appleton's in-form Oxford United of League 2.
Braintree knew it would be tough to bridge a gap of 27 places to Oxford, and sure enough, it was the League 2 promotion chasers who broke the ice in Essex. Callum O'Dowd's searching ball found the head of Ryan Taylor. He in turn found the back of the net. Taylor, the goal scorer, was then heavily involved in a missed opportunity. Some good feet, a nice back heel, but looks of anguish all around. Pat Hoban seeing his shot flash wide. And the non-leaguers would make Oxford pay for their wastefulness.
Davis shoots and scores! They're level, Braintree Town, and it's the skipper, Kenny Davies.
And it was to get even worse for Oxford. Michael Cheek bursting forward, John Mullins, already booked, appeared to bring him down. The dressing room beckoned. Down to 10 men, Oxford faced a stern examination. In fact, they very nearly won it. Instead, 3 minutes after rising from the subs bench, Liam Seacombe saw his shot come back off a post. And then right at the end, Braintree almost pulled off the shot they'd craved. Taylor Miles from distance, Benji Buchel kept it out. Braintree close, but the cigars stay on hold. Maidenhead had an FA Cup winner on board the team bus to the Potteries. Alan Devonshire lifted the old trophy as a West Ham player in 1980, but his bid to mastermind a Maidenhead upset at League One Port Vale came unstuck half an hour in. Byron Moore, the phrase nutmeg comes to mind, 1-0. But Maidenhead, some 62 places below them in the league system, responded. Dave Tarpey's free kick, Ryan Upwards' downwards header. Ben Wright really should have buried the rebound. Uche Ikpeazu weaved his way to the byline and crossed. Only introduced from the bench minutes before, Sam Foley could have won it for the League One side. Instead, his shot clipped the crossbar, a costly miss. Deep into added time, one James Mulley was to make him pay.
Not down into Port Vale, penalty was here's Tarpey, save on the line, back out, follow-up shot, goal to Maidenhead, 1-1, pandemonium as the goal scorer peels away to celebrate.
Bradford City conjured up some of last season's finest FA Cup magic, famously beating Chelsea and Sunderland on their way to the 6th round. Now, Aldershot were aiming to bring them down to earth. Tony Jones was watching.
Helped on by Brodie. Here's Stevenson. Williams forced to make a smart save. McMahon again with the free kick. And almost fell for Billy Clark. And still Smith hasn't been able to hold on. Not! And helped over the top of the crossbar by Beckles. Oh, it's a lovely turn by Billy Clark. It's a magnificent save by Phil Smith. Bradford huffed and puffed but couldn't find a goal.
As the nights drew in through October, things got darker and darker for FC Halifax Town. In the league, at least, they lost 6 out of 7 National League matches, twice conceding 7, and League 2 Wycombe soon found a way through them. Gary Thompson's 4th of the season was simple. Their next, in the 65th minute, was anything but. Cido John Barty has never scored for Wycombe. This isn't a bad way to put that right. The Portuguese defender must have been saving this up. The Wanderers were all soon trying to outdo each other. Substitute Max Kretschmar took on the Halifax defence by himself and won. And 2 minutes into stoppage time came the final entry in Wycombe's private goal of the month competition. Welshman Aaron Amadi Holloway finished things off nicely for them. Halifax have plenty to concentrate on in the league. 71 places separate Gainsborough Trinity from Shrewsbury Town. But today the difference was just 1 goal. The Shrews were given several scares before going ahead thanks to a moment of quality in the second half from Irish striker Jim Collins. Trinity were fearless, just not sufficiently ruthless.
Well, we saw a couple of battling draws by non-league sides against their league opponents, not least Maidenhead. We know what Alan Devonshire was like as a player. And I suppose his players almost did something for him, but you spotted something, Steve, in the build-up to their equaliser.
Yes, I think Mr. Upwood here might have just been doing a little bit of an impression of Ashley Young here. That I'm not quite sure that is a foul. And actually, the ball, you know, I know that they'll say you've had chances to clear it and stuff like that, but the ball never goes out of play, so it is active after that free kick. And clearly, it wasn't a free kick. But they do really well to get the second phase and third phase ball. Keep putting it in with quality. That's a wonderful chance there they miss. But they get that little bit of luck off of Dickinson there. And actually, probably it's a deserved result for them. So no one would begrudge them that goal.
Yeah, certainly not. And for Braintree Town against Oxford, tell me what you thought about their equalising goal.
Yeah, well,
I mean, they couldn't quite get past the 10 men at first.
Yeah, I think Oxford are a good side. I thought they played well, but again, stayed in the game. Braintree stayed in the game, and this finish from Kenny Davis, what a goal! Brilliant goal. It's a composed finish. What, he's 18, 20 yards out, and he just strokes it into the corner. Lovely goal, brilliant goal.
I mean, at any level, normally that is struck and it goes high and wide and we start again, but somehow he's just got his line of fire and he's just side-footed in brilliantly.
Well, it's certainly been a busy day of football and it certainly continues here on the BBC with Match of the Day 2 coming up a little later this evening and the chance for you to vote for October's Goal of the Month. Well, let's get back to yesterday's FA Cup first-round ties then. And no other non-league side could boast a better giant-killing record against league opposition than Altrincham of the National League. They'd sent no less than 16 league sides packing over the years. League One strugglers Barnsley went there hoping not to be another notch on their post. Watching this one for us, Nigel Adderley.
The former manager of Altrincham, Tommy Docherty, a famous name in the FA Cup, once described this club as the Manchester United of non-league football. Controlled by Moult! Great save by Davis. Well, Jake Moult is the long-range specialist in the Altrincham team. Scored from fully 30 yards in the National League last week. And that one was closer in, but Adam Davis had to make a really good save. Smith. Well, it's given away by Sinnott. Here is Winnall. Needs some support. He goes down, but no penalty. And in fairness to Winnall, not a huge appeal. It was careless play from the fullback. Was there enough in that to force Winnall to crumple to the turf? Winnall beaten to it again, but here is Pearson. And Winnall wins it this time. Watkins. Winnall is onside, and it's a sharp save at the near post. And with 3 minutes to play in the first half, it's the first real save the Altrincham goalkeepers had to make. And it's Barnsley in the black shirts, playing from left to right in the second half, and now defending. Crowther winning the loose ball from Pearson, and Crowther may go all the way. It's a fine save, but it's in! Damien Reeves! And seconds after half-time, Altrincham are at it again in the FA Cup. Crowther doing well to initially rob Pearson. And although it was turned aside by Davis, Damien Reeves was alive to the opportunity. Poaching the chance, and Altrincham have the lead. Altrincham have carried the greater threat throughout. Watkins. Mawson. Nodded back in field by Winnall. Isgrove challenging. What a chance and what a miss. The man on loan from Southampton should have brought Barnsley level there. Winnall doing well to find him, and he was able to turn Havern, but it was that second challenge which just did enough to put him off. Isgrove. And now Watkins. Still Marley Watkins. Headed away. Wilkinson! Wide. And that may have been the chance for Barnsley to save themselves. And in these circumstances, they simply have to go in. Smith. Now Horahan. Watkins. Caught by Sinnott. And Sinnott shows his frustration, but now it's the time to get back and try and organise. Altrincham 3 minutes away. Horahan's free kick, volleyed in by Winnall. Blocked initially, and then Winnall again challenging. Nyatanga is in there. It's a rugby scrum inside the 6-yard area, and somehow Altrincham escape. He may look a bit wet and miserable, but his team are on the verge of a great result. That's it! 21 years on, Altrincham are FA Cup giant killers once again.
How much did you enjoy that?
You enjoy it now. You're thinking to yourself while the game's going on. I mean, I actually missed the goal. I mean, it's come that quickly after half time. I'm going to have to look at it on the VT. I was told about it, but I mean, the last 25 minutes, you can tell that Barnsley are trying to find their way back into the game. You know that you're going to be put under pressure, and really, you think to yourself, is it going to be your day? And well, it turned out to be our day, yeah.
And I'm delighted to say we've been joined by the scorer for Altrincham yesterday, Damien Reeves. Damien, great to see you. Thanks. What was it like then to be part of a fantastic afternoon for Altrincham?
It was. I mean, we've not had a great run in the cup for the last few years, so we sort of said before the game, let's go at them and give it a go.
Yeah, I mentioned that you've got great cup pedigree at the club. I mean, Barnsley, your 17th league opposition to go out of the cup. I mean, is it something you're all aware of when you go into the football club?
I think you get to know it over a period of time, but yeah, over the last few years, it's been a little bit non-existent. We've not had a run. We've been beat by teams, you know, from a lower league than ourselves.
Yeah.
So it was important, really, that we sort of try and put that right and get a good run going this year.
Well, your gaffer Lee Sinnott mentioned that he didn't see the goal, so let's remind him once again, Shoin. Talk us through it.
Well, Ryan's picked the ball up in the middle of the park, and I think he's got the guy one-on-one. He's took him on the outside and obviously put the shot in. And I don't know what the two centre-halves are doing there, but they just seem to be waiting for somebody else to come and pick the ball up, so there I was to tap it in.
Yeah, but that's about movement.
Yeah.
You're on the move, they're not, and that's anticipation. That's why you've scored a goal and they haven't defended it, and that's what goal scoring's all about.
Shoots across the goalkeeper, you know full well, don't you? If there's a parry by the goalkeeper, instinctive, isn't it?
It's the only place you can shoot, really.
Yeah.
I mean, as you're growing up and you're learning the game, that's what you're taught. You shoot across the goalkeeper. And obviously, as a striker, if you want to get in those positions to score the goals, you've got to know that it's going to go across the keeper and then be there if he does what he did.
Yeah. Did it go to the game plan that Lee had pencilled out for you?
Yeah, I think they'd had them watched and they'd been to watch them, you know, previously, and we knew that they'd not been on very good form recently. So I think our game plan was to get stuck into them and make them a little bit nervous, and I think we tried that with a high press and tried to harry them and rush them, and then they started making mistakes and kicking the ball out, which allowed us to get a bit of a foothold in the game and then go forward a little bit.
You got great backing as well. What, 2,500 there?
Yeah, I mean, we do tend to... We get a few floating supporters because of the location of where the club is. But, again, it was a big game, big occasion. So they came out to support us and they did that with good numbers. And
of the 151 goals you've scored in 233 games, where does that rank amongst them?
It's definitely up there, again, because of what we've said. You know, they've got a good history in the Cup, but the last 4 or 5 years we've not been so great in the Cup. So I think it was important for the club as a whole, you know, to obviously get a run going, and that game obviously being the first round to get us into the second round. Yeah. You know, it gives everybody something to look at, you know, at the draw, see who we're going to pull out and go from there.
Who's you fancy next?
To be honest with you, anybody really. You know, if you get a team that's from a lower league than yourself, you've got a chance of getting in the third round. But then again, you've got the opportunity to go up against some big names that are still.
I mean, just mention your scoring record. I saw his ears prick up for Salisbury. Of course, the manager sat next to you. You keep your scouting network to yourself. Well done, and congratulations.
Well done. Cheers.
Well done. And they weren't the only sides on Saturday flying the victory flag for the non-league.
If League One's bottom club were looking to the FA Cup for a spot of light relief, they were to be sadly disappointed. National League side Eastleigh arrived under relatively new management and in good heart. 5 wins in 7 games since Chris Todd took the reins. An upset perhaps waiting in the wings. The Spitfires duly delivered. It was to go horribly wrong for Crewe after the break. Abuday bracing through, Ben Garrett rushing out. Arguably a rush of blood. He certainly saw red. Perhaps it was something in the home team's half-time tea, because the keeper's replacement was to suffer a similar calamity. Dan Nizic upending Ross Lafayette, just a yellow, but significantly a penalty. Time, as they say, for Ben Strevens to give the keeper the eyes.
What's he going to do? He steps up, Strevens looks to send the keeper the wrong way, he does! Ben Strevens has scored for Eastleigh, and Eastleigh lead Crewe Alexandra.
And the eyes had it, as it seemed did Eastleigh. Despite Crewe's late efforts, Eastleigh's first ever competitive meeting with a league club set up the potential for another in round 2.
A historic win for Eastleigh against League One Crewe. They've only gone and done it.
Top of the National League, Forest Green Rovers have ambitions to play in the Football League, so taking on League 2 AFC Wimbledon was a chance to test those out. They began well. Darren Carter put them ahead in the 6th minute. Wimbledon have history in the FA Cup, of course, and got back into this midway through the first half. This was Callum Kennedy's second in 2 matches. The Gloucestershire side could, perhaps should, have reassumed the lead, but when Charlie Clough only found the woodwork, it seemed Wimbledon were booked in for a midweek evening in the Cotswolds. That was until the 93rd minute, when Elliot Freer opted to cancel their invite.
Shot comes in, drilled in, and it's in! Elliot Freer has scored the winner for Forest Green! And have Forest Green done it again?
Well, what a great weekend it turned out to be then for Forest Green Rovers and for Eastleigh. I mean, two sides who've got some clear muscle behind them. But let's talk about Forest Green's dramatic late winner against AFC Wimbledon.
It's not really a shot with Forest Green. You know the investment that's gone into the club over the last couple. I mean, it's a good goal. Elliot Frey comes inside. Perhaps the goalkeeper Ben Wilson could do a little bit better with it as it comes to him, because he just doesn't adjust his feet, and he almost falls to his right. But take nothing away from the non-league side, the excellent finish, really.
Yeah, and Adi Pennock's got them playing well, isn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, I mean, people have had the money before and it's not worked out. So, you know, you can't do no more than he's done.
It's also been, what, 1 or 2 seasons since we've now known that Eastleigh are a major force to be reckoned with. You know, they took on Crewe. It was always going to be a major banana skin for them, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, obviously, we talk about big protagonists with regard to financial muscle, and you know, those two fall into it. I'm not sure that's the same enough. Yeah. I've got to say, I think he runs into the keeper. The keeper doesn't do anything more than try and get the ball, and I think that's a tough decision to take, that one. As you can see, the keeper doesn't agree with it. And then obviously, it is a penalty. He just doesn't see. Comes out of his eye line, doesn't he?
He's trying to react. He's made a mistake and he's desperate to make up for that mistake, trying to get the ball, and it's a penalty.
We played Eastleigh pre-season, and they played 11 players in the first half, 11 players in the second half. I think there's 3 or 4 still on in the stand. They have a very big squad, a very deep squad, and it's full of quality as well. So another side who can more than punch their weight. Yeah, well done to them. It's their first ever time they've beaten a Football League side in their history, and we've actually been given an appeal as well from the club. I love this, because this is what the first round of the Cup does. We've got a plea from Yemi Odu-Bade, who plays for Eastleigh. He had his shirt taken away from him from the pitch invasion which ensued, with the congratulations from the fans. He needs it back. They're playing Dover on Tuesday. OK, let's round up 5 more first-round ties from Saturday, including 4 all non-league affairs. First up, Dover Athletic of the National League against 7th tier Stourbridge.
7th tier Stourbridge were shock 2-1 winners over Dover Athletic of the National League. A cool finish from Chris Lates gave the Glass Boys an early lead after some great work on the left flank from Brian Schmeichel. The home side pulled one back 12 minutes before the break through Aswad Thomas, following a goal-mouth scramble. But midway through the second half, Dover keeper Mitch Walker walked after being shown a second yellow for bringing down Carl Hawley. The Stourbridge striker then made no mistake from the spot, sending the Northern League Premier side into the second round draw for the 3rd time in 5 seasons.
Steeped in Roman history, St Albans headed north intent on writing a small new chapter in the city's folklore. But things started to go wrong half an hour into their attempt to conquer Grimsby. These days, inhabiting the National League, the Mariners have known better days. But when Connor Townsend thumped a home free kick from way out, this looked like it might be one of them. Before the break, Grimsby turned to their bench, and the arrival of Padraig Hammond certainly had an immediate effect. Quickly into his stride, he maintained his composure and doubled the lead. St Albans, trying to bridge a gap of 36 pyramid places, found a foothold in the tie just past the hour. Louis Theophanis enjoying his moment in the FA Cup sunlight. That was to be a rather brief encounter with the romance of the Cup, though. From there, Grimsby set about crushing the St Albans uprising. A lovely goal, neat, incisive, finished smartly by John Paul Pittman. Grimsby used their subs well. Another Marcus Marshall added a 4th. The scent of an FA Cup upset rapidly dissipating in the damp Cleethorpes air. By the time Hammond made it 5-1, St Albans had long since abandoned any plans for the second round. National League South beckons again for them. The Mariners, though, march on.
If League 2 Leyton Orient were nervous about the challenge posed by 7th tier Staines Town, they settled down fast. Fraser Shaw left Ollie Palmer with very little to do, and the O's were off. 4 minutes later, Shaw played architect again. This time, Dean Cox did the honours and was clearly grateful for the fullback's help. The two sides are separated by 3 levels of English football, and pretty soon, 3 goals too. Bled Turgid's shot, once again, Palmer's finish. 3-0 down inside a quarter of an hour, this wasn't a day to be a Staines defender, with the possible exception of Darren Pearce. The 38-year-old got a souvenir goal against the club where he began his career back in 1994. It was really a memento from a mauling. Cox's second was the pick of the lot for Orient, 4-1 at half-time. They got a second wind in the final minutes of the second half. John Marquis placed home the fifth in the 89th minute. And before Staines could escape back across town, Sean Closey found the time and space to add a sixth. All very professional from the professionals. Orient advance.
There was no fairy tale for Barwell, who were playing in the FA Cup proper for the first time in their history. Welling United of the National League proved too strong for the 7th tier side. Skipper Ricky Wellard slid home after George Porter's effort rebounded off the post 11 minutes before half-time. Barwell battled, but Welling made sure of the win with the last kick of the game. Michael Bakari, on as a second-half substitute, had plenty of space to stroke home from close range to spark ecstatic celebrations from the London club.
Witton Albion's ground was the wet and windy backdrop to Northwich and Boreham Wood's drama. Soggy pies, grey skies. The place needed a lift, and Jordan Williams provided one. A moment to pierce the early November gloom. Northwich the underdogs in front. The conditions were right for an upset, and no one was more upset than Northwich's goalkeeper Mason Springthorpe, initially slipping, then indecisive. Jordan Marias with precious little sentiment. The homekeeper briefly Cheshire's most unpopular man. And to rub salt in, his opposite number then made an heroic save. James Russell brilliantly denying Ian Howard to take the tie to a rematch.
Well, we saw some great goals there, not least from Jordan Williams there, of course, and Dean Cox for Leyton Orient. But for Stourbridge, congratulations to them. I mean, they're through to the second round. In fact, they've done it a few times in recent years against the Dover side, who've caused a lot of teams, league or non-league, problems in the FA Cup.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, for the position that they're in the league at the moment as well, this is a great achievement for them to take on Dover, and it was excellent from them, really. I mean, this is Chris Lake. I think it was the first goal. Lovely finish, just guides it into the far corner, and it's a brilliant goal. Yeah,
they do play the game the right way, Stourbridge. You've got to say. I mean, what Carl Hawley knows about that? The first, the touch, and secondly, the foul. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure that's a penalty. I've got to say, I don't think there's too much contact there, but.
And a red card.
Double whammy.
Yellow
for
and
them.
a red. Yeah.
They play some good stuff, Stourbridge. I watched them last year play, and they don't have to get the ball down and knock it around. And then Carl Hawley. They've obviously still got a player who can mix it a little bit at the top level.
Yeah, and like I said, well done to all of them at the football club. Now, having seen the likes of Vinnie Jones, Stuart Pearce and Jermaine Beckford turn out for them over the years, National League South side Wealdstone were looking to their current stars to make the headlines against League One Colchester United. Commentary comes from John Roeder.
Briggs in towards Sordell. Bon tries to set up Moncur. Here is George Moncur. Tried to work it through a crowd of Wealdstone defenders, and again there's a crowd, but this time they can't stop the shot from Macaulay Bon. And Colchester's pressure pays dividends. 26 minutes played and the League One side are in front. Davis looking for Lucien, who's just swapped wings with Hudson-Odoi at the moment. Lucien taking on Edwards. Oh, lovely run from Lucien. We're down in the area. Penalty kick to Wealdstone. And although Lucien appears to make the most of it, there was contact, clear contact across his chest. And Wealdstone have the chance to draw level. Jefferson Louis up against Elliot Parrish. Louis scores! And Wealdstone are right back in this FA Cup tie. Goalkeeper goes one way, ball goes the other. Corner's a deep one. Headed down by Hammond. And it's Hudson-Odoi who has made it 2-1. As it's cleared here by Briggs, straight against the knee of the Wealdstone man. Briggs hits that with real power, and all that power is diverted back
past the goalkeeper, and Wealdstone are in front. Bradley Hudson-Odoi didn't know too much about it. Look how many defenders are back in Wealdstone blue. In towards Bond, 2-2. Second goal for Macaulay Bond. Just able to get away from his marker there. Sordell bearing down on the Wealdstone goal. He's got two in the middle to aim for. Sordell with the ball across. Hat-trick for Macaulay Bond. And from the moment the ball was played forward, there was danger here for Wealdstone. Moncur in towards Harriott. That's a corner. And Colchester will come forward in numbers again. Moncur trying to line up a right foot shot. Well, is that George Moncur's goal or is that Macaulay Bond? Let's have another look. Moncur with the shot, and as it goes in towards goal, it is headed in by Macaulay Bond. 4 goals for him now. Louis goes for goal! That would have been absolutely extraordinary, but Elliot Parish with the save. Sordell. Marvin Sordell looking to set up Harriott. Sordell again. This time it's Moncur! And that might just seal Colchester's passage through to the second round of the FA Cup. Gilby. Challenged by Davis. Able to find Massey, though, on the far side. Massey's ball in, cleared away. This is Sordell! Sordell. Well, he doesn't half hit this, doesn't he? And it is Wealdstone 2, Colchester 6.
Well, Tony, at one stage, when you went 2-1 down, you must have been thinking, hang on a second.
Yeah, it was when you think about the amount of opportunities we created in the first half and didn't take. I think by that stage, we'd had about 10 opportunities, and it looked as if it was possibly going to be one of those games. But I thought there was a second half was a thoroughly professional performance, and deservedly won the game.
You've got to take gambles, and in the end we did, and possibly gambled a little bit too much, and consequently it's ended up 6, and I feel we've let ourselves down today, to be honest.
There's no chance I'm not leaving today without this ball. It's mine. Not often someone my age comes here and scores a hat-trick in the FA Cup and they're allowed to go and get 4 goals. And I thought, it's my ball today, at least.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better for a 20-year-old when he scored 4 goals in the first round of the FA Cup. Before we talk about Macaulay Bond, Wealdstone, they gave themselves a great chance, and credit to them. 2-1 up, they dared to dream at that point.
Well, I was a bit surprised you said they let themselves down. They had to go for it. They're going to walk off the field and think, we had no regrets. We had to go and throw caution.
Leave everything out there.
Yeah, that wasn't an issue. We've seen it time and time again. Part-time footballers against professional footballers. Sometimes fitness does tell. We saw earlier on with Exeter, and I think that was another case there.
Yeah. What a few days for Macaulay Bond. On Tuesday, he scored 3 goals in a local cup fixture, and then 4 here. He's done brilliantly well.
Well, there's not many that score 4 goals in the FA Cup, so you've got to credit him. He looks a goal scorer. Actually, you see his movement. He's back to goal here, and knows instinctively where the goal is. Finishes well. This one just getting across his defender, isn't he? Just a header. Again, arriving between the stick. Steve himself, he's a good goal scorer himself. He knows the position to get to. That's the one.
That's the one that tells you he's a goal scorer. Yeah. That's the one that tells you he's a goal scorer, because he's in the line of the shot and he's actually looking, thinking, so I'll get on this. I'm not having him scoring. I'll get on this. And that's what tells you he's a goal scorer, just his positioning.
Yeah. And Tony Humes will be relieved. He knows him because, of course, from the youth days. And also, look at the defence. Colchester has not looked too clever this season, but he'll need his goals this season.
Yeah, it's easy to go, the defence isn't any good because we can see goals, but you do that as a team, don't you?
Another whistle-stop tour now involving 6 ties, starting with Worcester City, who made the headlines, you may remember, this time last season. A year on, they had another trip to League One opposition in Sheffield United.
They knocked out Coventry City this time last year, but a trip to Sheffield United posed a pretty sizable mountain for National League North side Worcester City to climb, and so it proved. It didn't help their cause when Sam Minahan brought down Che Adams with less than 20 minutes gone. Jose Baxter with an early chance to enhance his reputation, which he duly took. It stayed that way until late on, but with less than 10 minutes to go, Worcester hopes began to drain.
Now Campbell Royce into the box, gets in the cross into the 6-yard box for Connor Salmon, and Connor Salmon turns the ball past Nathan Vaughan. That's 2-0 to Sheffield United, and possibly is that Worcester City's chance gone in this year's FA Cup?
Yes, it was. Right at the end, the Blades demonstrating their cutting edge again.
Into the box, here comes Freeman past Dunkley, Freeman into the 6-yard box, Freeman bundles the ball over the line. That's game, set the match to Sheffield.
National League North side AFC Fylde braved the Den for 54 minutes before Millwall silenced their opponents. Aidan O'Brien used his head, then his right boot to put the League One side ahead. Lee Gregory doubled their lead on the hour mark after persistence and precision from Sean Williams. Fylde, though, were back in it just 2 minutes later, left back Alex Whittle giving the visitors some hope. But Steve Morrison put Millwall into the second round. O'Brien this time turning provider for his teammate. 2 minutes from time to seal a 3-1 victory.
Cambridge United are currently without a manager, so sixth-tier Basingstoke Town might have arrived at the Abbey Stadium with hope. But Cambridge weren't keen on being the fall guys. Barry Corr only misjudged this by a fraction early on. The hosts wouldn't need to wait much longer. Harrison Dunk's cross finished off by Jeff Hughes for the U's. Basingstoke aren't having a vintage season in the National League South, but had their moments. Louis Soares wasn't far away. And, much later on, Liam Envermarum will get closer still. Off the post and out, as ultimately were Basingstoke.
National League North hopeful Stalybridge Celtic travelled with expectation to Doncaster Rovers, but it didn't take too long for the League One side to rather dampen their fireworks. And with a man named Andy Williams in their cup team, it was perhaps inevitable Doncaster would enjoy some magic moments. And just 3 minutes in, the first one duly arrived, and well taken it was too. Stalybridge did their best to level it. Jack Higgins might have had a sleepless night, reflecting on his fine chance. Either side of the keeper would surely have done. And to make him feel that little bit worse, there was to be an encore from Andy Williams. 20 minutes from time, he cashed in on a defensive mistake and punished it like an old stager. A businesslike display from Darren Ferguson's Doncaster then, who lived to fight another cup day.
In 2008, FA Cup winners Portsmouth secured their first victory in the competition since 2010, beating non-league Macclesfield Town 2-1. Adam McGurk opened the scoring on 3 minutes, a well-worked team effort. Pompey's lead didn't last long though. Keeper Ben Murphy was caught napping and Christian Dennis was there to pounce for the Silkmen. Murphy, however, came to the rescue later, denying Danny Whitehead, who fancied his chances from distance. But it was Pompey who scored the winner on the stroke of half-time.
Stevens drives into the air, a good run from Ender Stevens, squares it, McGurk! It's blocked, Chaplin must put it in! McGurk! He finally drives it home! It's Portsmouth 2, Macclesfield 1.
Hartlepool's most recent FA Cup memory was losing to non-league Blythe Spartans, so there was obvious determination not to let that happen against National League Cheltenham Town. The battling spirit was apparent here just before half-time. It helped get the ball through to Kudus Oyenuga, who took the chance to score his first goal on his first start of the season for Poole. They'd need resilience in their defence too after the break, and particularly from their goalkeeper. Here, only Trevor Carson's repeated heroics stood in the way of a Cheltenham equaliser. Last season, the Robins were relegated while Hartlepool stayed in the Football League, and they had a good go at revenge. Lee Vaughan's touch so close to forcing a replay, but that was the last action of their cup campaign.
So that's all the non-league sides covered, bar one tie, of course, which takes place tomorrow. And there's no denying the tone was set on Friday night when Salford City got the FA Cup proper off to a flyer with that memorable debut appearance against League Two Notts County. Scorer on the night for Salford City, Danny Webber. He's with us now, as you can see. Danny, have you quite recovered from what happened on Friday?
Just about. I think it was quite a surreal night, to be honest. I think nobody expected us to even be in the first round, and to win, we weren't given much chance of winning.
Yeah.
And everybody was delighted. It was a great atmosphere, and we enjoyed ourselves.
I mean, everybody feels like they've been on this journey because of the recent documentary. They know what the club's all about. What was it like to be part of?
I think it was exciting, and again, as people did see the documentary, I think we gained a lot of people who were interested because of that. And there's a lot of people who didn't like football, who aren't into football, that sort of joined us on the journey and have enjoyed the experience as well. So it's great to be in the dressing room, great to be part of something that's moving forward and really enjoying ourselves.
And you couldn't have timed your goal much better, could you?
I think that was the plan. I think first half we'd threatened a little bit, but the belief of actually getting the ball in the back of the net was what we needed. So, sort of 15, 20 seconds into the second half, it was a great ball from James Poole, and I just had to sort of scramble it in. I think I blew it in at the same time.
Look, because we know you've been around. You started at Manchester United. You've been in the second tier for a good few seasons. Were there nerves amongst the other players in the dressing room?
Yeah, there was a lot of nerves, but I think the managers did a good job in sort of the way they made us channel it. There was a few of the older lads as well that helped the younger lads channel it, so I think the blend was right, and the nerves were there, but just couldn't wait to get on the pitch and express themselves.
But they didn't show it, did they, with their backs to the wall? I mean, we saw some terrific goal line clearances.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen Howson, in the second half, we thought it was a goal, and the way that he...
How's he got to this?
I still don't know, to be honest. I don't know how the guys missed, but fantastic. The fact that he even did it, most people wouldn't even chase it back.
How many defenders you see in that position? You see them just give up the goals. That's the desire to defend there. It's brilliant defending.
Yeah. Or getting back to it and skewing it into your own goal, of course.
Yeah.
What about your management team? I mean, the duo, they're very interesting. They remind me of Hale and Pace, actually. But, did they celebrate with the boys afterwards?
Yeah, everybody did. I think, Jono, Anthony Johnson, but everyone calls him Jono. Jono went home, actually, had his daughter's party the next day. But everybody went back to, we all had a drink together,
Yeah.
Bernard, his family, and, some of the class of 92 as well. So it was a good fun, and everybody celebrated into the night.
So they weren't policing your drinks this time?
Not this time.
No. So let's have a look at that second goal. Richie Allen, what a strike. I mean, what a build-up, first of all, to get himself out of this corner.
Yeah, I think there's a moment in it where you think he's lost it, and he's getting crowded out. But he does this kind of thing in training quite often, and it was a little piece of magic just to get him out of it. And then all of a sudden you think he's got a chance here, and he took it so well. A little 1-2 off Jordan Hume, and it was a fantastic goal, and probably warranted, definitely warranted the attention it got.
I've known of Rich Allen a while. He's from Preston, actually, so I've known of him for quite a while, and he's been at a few clubs non-league. He's had a few issues and what have you, but he's got real talent.
That's brilliant. Look at the reaction.
Yeah,
I think there's always another perspective, isn't there? I mean, it's wonderful that you've got three players who've achieved what they've achieved. But you look at it from a Notts County perspective, and I know it's a good bit of skill, but you wouldn't have to be disappointed if you were looking at that from your team had allowed three players around him to get out of an area like that. So I think that was really a symptom of Notts County all night. You were absolutely magnificent, and they simply weren't very good on the night.
No, but that reaction is phenomenal from Gary Neville. You think they'd been there and seen everything. Yeah. Paul Scholes said it's better than winning in the Champions League. What did the class of '92 say to you? I know obviously a couple of them weren't there on the night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were just delighted. You could see it was more emotion than the words that they said. They came in, they were so happy. Paul Scholes came in and he was dancing with the lads in the dressing room, and Gary was just delighted. You could see that. So it was good for everybody. Around the place, not just the players. It was just a very good night.
Finally, quickly, apart from Manchester United in the third round, who do you want in the second?
There's a couple of my old teams I'd be happy to get, but Portsmouth would be a good one. Sheffield United, but anybody really, because it's the magic of the FA Cup.
Thanks for popping in. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Well done again. Well, let's see how four more ties panned out. Now, starting with the 1987 winners, Coventry City of League One, against their former landlords, League Two's Northampton Town.
OK, so Coventry-Northampton may not be on everyone's list of great derby games, but it means plenty to these two Midland sides. And after a flurry of 3 goals in the first 18 minutes, Northampton's fans are in the pink in every sense. The Cobblers took a huge step in the right direction after only 5 minutes. Nicky Adams' free kick evading just about everyone, but somehow finding the net. Coventry have suffered rather a fall from grace since actually winning the cup in 1987, but Jacob Murphy showed quickly he wasn't about to give this one up easily. But that thumping effort was to count for nothing. Northampton skipper Mark Richards very much leading from the front.
He crosses early towards the back post. Richards! Yes! And the Cobblers score! That was the first lull in the game. Coventry City took their foot off the gas. Coventry City 1, Northampton Town 2.
League One high flyers Gillingham were knocked out of the cup by League Two strugglers Stevenage. Manager Justin Edinburgh being outdone by former Spurs teammate Teddy Sheringham. Both, of course, won the FA Cup as players. Unmarked Stephen Schumacher gave the home side the lead with a terrific strike from 20 yards after a well-worked corner. Chris Whelpdale made it 2, heading home from close range against his former club. And Stevenage rounded off the win in stoppage time.
Ball held forward by Conlon. Nadouye is onside. Oh, there's 2 men running through for Stevenage. They're going to seal it here. Oh, they've just played it round. Stuart Nelson and Nadouye taps it in. Stevenage 3, Gillingham 0.
Barnet are a league below Blackpool, but the buzz around this one was for a Bees upset. Blackpool are having a wretched time of late, and the moods won't have been improved by the manner in which Barnet took the lead. Tom Champion, the scorer. It was 2 before half-time. Luke Gambin picked up Michael Gash for his 7th of the season. All pretty routine for Barnet. The problems on and off the field at Blackpool are increasingly glaring.
Mansfield against Oldham, perhaps not a tie to set the pulses racing, unless that is, of course, you're a follower of either one, though even the most ardent might have found it tough going at the one-call stadium. There were 1 or 2 close calls too, a scramble here, a scramble there. Neither side, though, could quite force the ball over the line. Cameron Dummigan twice came to Oldham's rescue. They couldn't be separated. They'll have to do it all again.
So 0-0 in that final game, but we saw Northampton come through, despite all their recent travails with their with the cash situation there, against Coventry City, where it's a case of déjà vu in many respects after this time last year.
Yeah, exactly. You know, last season going out to Worcester, you know, we saw that quite clearly from Coventry's point of view. We've been having a decent spell as well under Tony Mowbray, but I just think it's you know, it's an excellent cross. I just think it's how it is maybe at the stage of the season for Coventry. They're getting themselves in a position where all seems to be going well for them. It's going to turn for them, and then Mark Richards there with his 10th goal of the season. So it's excellent finish.
He'd have probably been a miss, wouldn't he, the boy Armstrong?
Yes,
yes. He's been a big
for Coventry.
player.
He's been prolific, really, on his own from Newcastle.
So he's probably been a bit of a miss from that one.
Yeah. As for Stevenage, well, it was a battle of the 2 old Spurs boys, wasn't it? Teddy Sheringham against Justin Edinburgh. This one clearly going against what many people were predicting.
Yeah, but it didn't go to form, did it? I mean, he's had a tough start, Teddy, with his tutelage, but they were very good. Gillingham might point to the fact they might have rested a couple and he might have changed it around a touch, but you know, they were second best on the day in this one, and you know, I thought they were very good. This might be, you know, the catalyst for.
Well, this is what I was thinking, because it has been a tough start to management
to get their season going. Yeah, I mean, he's been. It's one of those where you start in the way that they've started, and you think, you know, you're only going to get better now because he's been through a real tough period.
And you've got to give him some credit, really, for starting down at Stevenage, and you know,
absolutely. Yeah, they've got to stick with him. They've got to stick with him as well. Give him the chance to go on.
You're not going to. He's not a six week, a 3 month appointment. He's one that you've got to let go.
Yeah.
OK, and so to our last few games played out yesterday, starting with another former winner, Wigan Athletic, who picked up the famous old trophy only a couple of years ago. How things have changed for them since. The Latics travelled to inform League One side Bury.
It's hard to believe it's just 2.5 years since Ben Watson etched his name into Wigan folklore with that FA Cup winning goal at Wembley. A first-round defeat at League One rivals Bury then, a somewhat sobering experience. 18 minutes in, Tom Pope heading home Chris Huss's cross, and with one of those moments for goalkeeper Richard O'Donnell. Well, it all went rather downhill from there for Wigan. No goalkeeping assistance required for Bury's second. Danny Mayer with an honourable mention and a terrific strike for 2-0. And by half-time, the Shakers were fair trembling with excitement. 3 up thanks to Nathan Cameron's goal, and 1 foot in the second round already. That FA Cup glory day and a quarter-final win over Manchester City only 18 months ago are writ large in Wigan's roll of honour. But that all must seem like a lifetime ago now. Leon Clark rubbing it in to make it 4-0. It's Bury's turn to dream now.
It was an all-League One tie at the Pirelli Stadium, second against 13th as Burton Albion welcomed Peterborough United. And it was the visitors that showed league form counts for nothing when it comes to the FA Cup. Posh took the lead just before the break, Michael Smith's pass finding Connor Washington, who made no mistake from 6 yards. Washington scored his and Peterborough's second midway through the second half after a defensive mistake by Burton's Phil Edwards. Jermaine Anderson's left-foot finish sealed a 3-0 win 6 minutes from time. But a red card put a blip on Peterborough's performance. Jack Baldwin, playing his first game after a year out with a knee injury, came on in stoppage time. But he didn't even have to break sweat before being sent off for a bad challenge on Edwards.
An all-League One tie at Scotland, but not a particularly close one. Swindon's day was summed up by the build-up to Rochdale's opening goal. Nathaniel Mendez-Lang's first of the season. He'd got the taste for it. For when Peter Vincenti created more problems for Swindon after the break, Mendez-Lang was on hand again, this time with a bit of added extra. If that was all clear-cut, it would become a bit more muddled. As the ball came in here, Rochdale demanded a penalty. Referee Chris Sargison signalled for a corner at first, but it seemed he was thinking, perhaps consulting, about Rafael Branco's challenge on Joe Bunny. And a few seconds later he'd come up with a different idea. Penalty. And who else to take it but Mendez-Lang? Hat-trick and 3-0. Having just been faced with that puzzler, Mr. Sargison got a few seconds rest, and then he was being tested again. This time the decision was quicker, penalty to Swindon. Nicky Ajosi took the opportunity to score his 5th of the season, but there was no way back for Swindon, who have perhaps more pressing concerns in the league.
An all-League One affair, and it's Scunthorpe will be able to concentrate on the Cup a little while longer after overcoming Southend. Paddy Madden set the ball rolling just past the quarter hour, making sense of the scramble. Half an hour in, the Shrimpers found the net. Ryan Leonard with one for the scrapbook. Southend might have taken the lead. Miles Weston very nearly making a name for himself. But all ifs and buts. Instead, Luke Daniels, the goalkeeper, took the glory. A terrific save to keep his side in the cup. And that was to prove critical, as Scunthorpe booked their place in round 2. Paddy Madden once again alert to the opportunity to fire his team through.
League One leaders Walsall made it through to the second round of the FA Cup at the expense of struggling Fleetwood Town. Midfielder George Evans found the bottom corner after shooting from distance to put the home side in front on 19 minutes. Nathan Pond went close for Fleetwood in the second half, but a moment of quality from Anthony Ford sealed it for the Saddlers. A delightful right-foot shot, making it 2-0 and ensuring Walsall will be the highest ranked side in Monday's draw.
It's nearly an 800-mile round trip from Carlisle to Plymouth, so this draw probably wasn't popular in Cumbria, particularly when Carlisle United hadn't won at home park since 1978. But when Anthony Sweeney produced this display of acrobatics, the Travellers had hope. League Two leaders Argyle had only lost 1 in 11 before this, but came up against a determined Carlisle. When Derek Asamoah was denied, Hallam Hope scored his first for the Cumbrians, so they got home happy, eventually.
A devilishly difficult one to call in West Sussex had them at fever pitch, though they had to wait until the second half for the goals to start flowing. And John McCoyd's opener was worth waiting for, quite a finish. Luton on their way. The home side's equaliser, less spectacular, but they all count. Simon Walton with a cross, Matt Harrold with a neat and tidy dispatch, less so the celebration. This one was always likely to be tight, and sure enough, it took until very late on for the tie to be settled. John McCoyd, man of the hour, or rather the 89th minute, to send the Hatters into the hat for round 2.
Jackie McNamara's first game in charge of York City ended in a 3-2 defeat at Accrington Stanley. Sean McConville's clever finish, aided by the post, put Stanley ahead just before the half-hour mark. Nothing could dampen the midfielder's celebrations. Stanley's lead didn't last long though, as York equalised through Verdane Oliver. 2 minutes later, Accrington were back in front. Matt Crooks surged ahead before picking his spot in the bottom corner. Stanley made sure of the victory 3 minutes into the second half. Billy Key was brought down after making a nuisance of himself in the York area. Josh Windass dinked the ball into the back of the net from the penalty spot. Michael Coulson's header in stoppage time was too little too late for City.
Optimism is in short supply at the bottom of the Football League, Dagenham and Redbridge, but they began brightly against Morecambe. Jake Mulroney working keeper Barry Roche. There were nervous moments for the Daggers though. Did Justin Hoyt handle here? Apparently not. Still, Alan Goodall's strike might have made that irrelevant. Lee Molyneux had a go at scoring his second of the season for Morecambe, but couldn't unduly trouble Mark Cousins, so they'll all head back to the Irish seashore a week on Tuesday.
Patrick Geary, Ivan Gaskell and Ellis Lloyd on round-up duty this weekend. Well done to Nathan Mendes-Lang on his hat-trick for Rochdale as they overcome their fellow league rivals Swindon in the Cup. I mean, this was clearly the best of the lot.
Yeah, that was a great finish. Really good technique as well. I mean, that's the one thing about him that is not in doubt is, you know, his ability, his technique. What is in doubt is, you know, his application, his attitude at times. I watched him on loan at Portsmouth a couple of times and, you know, it just lacked a little bit of drive.
Yeah.
But obviously, as you get older, you get more experience, you realise, actually, I might need to put a little bit more in here, and if he clearly does that, he can be a good player.
I know he was courted by a few clubs over the summer, like Scunthorpe and Burton, and we also saw Luton come through, of course. A couple of goals from a man we know who knows where the net is, and Josh McCoy.
Josh McCoy, yeah. I guess a little bit of luck coming back into his path, but it's his reaction, finishes it really well. Excellent.
Yeah, well done to both of them. And terrific afternoon then, as far as Rochdale and Luton are concerned. Well, that's it then. 39 of the 40 FA Cup first-round ties played. The one remaining tie is tomorrow, and that's between FC United of Manchester and Chesterfield on Monday night at 7:45, and you can follow that on Radio 5 Live and the BBC Sport website. Before that, though, we're for live coverage of the second-round draw at 7 o'clock on BBC Two, when Mark Chapman will be joined by double FA Cup winner Garth Crooks. And you can watch the best moments from the first round of the FA Cup on our catch-up service, which is available from Monday morning.
What a start for Warrington Town! Jarrett Rivers of Blythe Spartans! Stunning! Brilliant goal! What a special strike! Nutmegging Flint. Bang! What a tackle! Would you believe it?
That's it from us, Steve. Kevin, thanks for your company today. It's been a breathless start to this season's Emirates FA Cup. If Saturday belonged to Altrincham, Eastleigh and Forest Green, Sunday was all about Chesham United and Whitehawk. A fantastic first round then for the non-leaguers. From all of us here, bye for now.
Tread of wherever, you do not see me as your king.